Hey everyone, what's up? This is Blaze, and welcome to pretty much a casual talk about the test realm on this fine day in March. So, really, I've been kind of thinking about stuff, and as to why I think that the test realm hasn't been released by now. You know, we've all got our speculations and stuff, but it seems, I don't know, it just seems kind of weird that it hasn't been released by now, because, I mean, there's been a ton of indicators that it would come out at least way earlier than it has right now. So I just kind of want to talk about some of those things, kind of what I've been thinking about with the test realm and its projected release date, which seems like that's almost up. So I'm just going to kind of be talking about that stuff. I'll probably put some screens in the background that kind of show where I'm getting the information from, which is pretty much from the producer's letter and some of the monthly newsletters. But anyway, so the first thing was that I wanted to talk about was that part 1 came out a little kind of around 5 months ago. That was it came out in the test realm late October, and then around mid-November was the actual release of part 1 in the live realm. So that was about 5 months ago, and now I guess the main reason that I expected part 2 to be out by now was one, because it seems as if, well, this is what I originally thought, was that they made all of Khrysalis and then realized, oh, hey, this is kind of big. This world's a lot bigger than other ones that we've done in the past, so let's go ahead and break it into 2. That was what I originally thought. You know, I was like, makes sense for them just to kind of divide it up. But then, you know, as time's kind of gone on and they haven't released it yet, I'm kind of thinking that they made part 1 first, and then they kind of left it off for them to make part 2 a little later. But that was not what the fans were expecting. Definitely not what I was expecting. So that's kind of what I'm thinking that they did for Khrysalis. And it kind of makes sense, because if you think about it, at the end of Khrysalis part 1, there was a pretty clean break as to where Khrysalis part 1 ended, and, you know, where part 2 is going to pick up again. So it does make sense. It doesn't seem like it was just a random cut in the middle of this entire world of Khrysalis somewhere. It's actually a pretty clean break, because you fight Ghost Dog, and you see Morganthe, and then she's like, yeah, I'll see you in my Shadow Palace and all this stuff. So it was a pretty clean break, which I was, I mean, it's a good job on KingsIsle to do that, but it also makes it seem like it is 2 worlds, even though it's kind of not. So, looking at the producer's letter, this was released in December of 2013, so only a month after Khrysalis Part 1 was released. They come out with this little paragraph talking about Khrysalis Part 2 and what they have planned for 2014. And in this little paragraph, they have a couple lines that are really foreshadowing of what we're going to see in part 2, and kind of a general release date on it. I think this was in the producer's letter. Let me just read it quick. We have an incredibly exciting 2014 plan for you, and we're hard at work on the initial stages right now. So initial stages. So I don't know. That kind of makes it seem like they hadn't really started too much in part 2 at this time, which was about 3 months ago, 3 or 4. So I have to keep my lips sealed as to what is to come. However, I can tell you we're planning on some really nifty things that I can't wait to share as the year marches on. We're excited to get you a little help from your friends, tap into more ancient powers, help you unleash your creativity, and hook you into the spiral like nothing you've seen yet. So that was kind of like 4 major things right there that they're talking about. And I was kind of thinking about it, and I'm like, when she says we're excited to get you a little help from your friends, I wonder if that was talking about dungeon, or not, team up rather, that little feature that they added recently. A little help from your friends. That's kind of what it seems like. So maybe these were like little hints at content that they are planning on dropping in 2014. If that's true, and that's the order, then tap into more ancient powers is talking about shadow magic or another kind of magic. So that's the next on the list. So hopefully that's soon. But I'm pretty certain that the next update to Wizard 101, or at least the next major update to Wizard 101, is going to be the release of the test realm. So, but of course, we're just hoping on that. So, there was another place. I guess I'm looking at the producer letter, and that wasn't really where it said the release date. I just remember that in one of the other either newsletters or something, they planned on Part 2's release in early 2014. That was kind of, oh, here it is. So it's in the update notes. So Khrysalis Part 2 is still coming along and is still slated for early 2014. So as of right now, it is March 22nd that I'm making this video on. And to be completely honest, I don't know who you would ask, but I would guess that if you ask most people, they're not really going to say it's early 2014. I don't know. Maybe some people will. But in terms of like games and developers, when they release stuff, they go by quarters usually, and quarter 1 of 2014 is almost over. It actually ends in about 9 days. So that'll be the end of quarter 1 for 2014. And to me, that seems like that would be the end of the early 2014 release date. So then we're moving into quarter 2, which is the next 3 months after March, and that takes us to summer. So I don't know. I kind of wish if they would have known this was going to take a while to just be like, oh, we're going to release this. We're going to wait till spring. If they would have said spring, not early 2014, I would have been like, okay, they still have some time left because we just hit spring. First day of spring was a couple days ago, and they still have a big release window for that. So I don't know. I'm guessing spring. They should have really said spring if they haven't released it by now. But that's just kind of what I was thinking on that. So, but really, yeah, it's kind of weird that all we've really gotten is 2 screenshots and a few little hints here and there, and then really no major content for around 5 months. The only content we did get was that team up and the dungeon recall, which wasn't really content. It was pretty much like some extra features. But I don't know. I kind of liked back in when Celestia was just about to come out, where they were, to kind of hold players over and keep people excited, they released a little dungeon, not really dungeons, I would call it more gauntlets. I'm not talking about the packs, or not the packs, the bundles. I'm not talking about the bundles like the Winterbane or anything. I'm talking about in Marleybone, they released this cool tower for when Celestia was about to come out, and people were really excited for that. I remember that wasn't when I was recording back then, but that was just when I played Wizard for fun because I enjoyed the game. And they released that tower, and I just remember people just grouping outside of that and like surrounding it, trying to find groups, trying to find a healer, because it was actually really difficult. It was like around, that was level 50, and people were trying to, I don't know, I don't even know if it dropped any good gear. I think it maybe dropped like a ring or something good like that, but I don't know. But that was really exciting. I think that would have been a really good thing for them to release in the middle of part 1 and part 2, because it doesn't seem like it would be that difficult for them to make something like that. At least to kind of give us like a little taste of what's going to happen in part 2, because in part 1, there really wasn't that many cheating bosses. It wasn't that difficult. The only thing that made it kind of difficult was the amount of mob battles that you had to do, which just made it more time consuming and boring rather than anything else. But I don't know, that would be cool if they could release something like that. And I kind of hope they do that. Not really for part 2, but maybe for the world after part 2, they kind of release some kind of little dungeon or towers or something like that, which would be really fun. Or maybe they add on to Aquila. I don't know. It doesn't really need to be a full-on world. Like, Aquila wasn't really a full-on world. It was kind of a side world more than anything, but it was really only 3 dungeons. So I hope they do more stuff like that. I hope we see more of that kind of stuff, because that's really fun. Not really Tartarus, because I don't know, Tartarus, people have a lot of opinions on Tartarus. I've done it 100+ times. I don't know. I'm pretty tired of it, but I have gotten most of the gear that I can get, except the amulet, which we don't really speak of because, I don't know, it's probably less than 1% drop rate on that. I would guess like 0.5% drop rate on that, if even that. So, anyway, this has kind of been going on. It's almost been 10 minutes. So, just kind of wanted to give you guys kind of my thought process on the test room right now. Some casual chatting going on. So anyway, let me think if there's any kind of updates that I want to tell you guys about. Blue and I are still planning on releasing our FTB Revival series soon. Probably the next couple of weeks we're gonna have to see. I'm not too concerned about, putting it out right away, because I don't know, I'm just gonna be posting Pirate, maybe the occasional Minecraft and that kind of stuff. So anyway, that's pretty awesome. We're nearing 40k subscribers, so that's pretty awesome. So make sure you have subscribed if you're not, because I'll be having some fun stuff happening when we hit 40k, so that'll be awesome. And I have some even more awesome stuff planned for when we hit 50k, so tell your friends to subscribe and all that stuff, so we can get there a little faster. So anyway, this video's been going on long enough, so thank you guys for watching. Give the video a like if you guys kind of agree with what I've been talking about, and make sure you guys go ahead and comment about your guys' thoughts on the test ROM and when you think it should have been released and all that stuff, because I kind of am curious to know what you guys are thinking about that. And I think that's about it. So anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.